You know what's scarier than an overpowered main character? One who flexes without even trying, while pretending to be weak. By the time you notice them, it's already over. These aren't loud protagonists. They don't announce their strength. They flex by accident, show off without meaning to, and let everyone underestimate them anyway, because hiding in plain sight gives them control. This list is about a certain type of main characters, the ones who are far more dangerous than they look. Let's count them down. The Fable. The Fable follows Satu Akira, one of the most dangerous men alive. Not because he talks big, not because he flexes power. He's a legendary hitman who's completed assassination jobs with machine-like precision, and now he's been ordered to do something even harder. Live like a normal person. He doesn't threaten anyone, he barely reacts. He works a regular job, has awkward conversations, looks like someone you'd never notice twice. But every small movement feels calculated. The tension in the Fable comes from one rule: he's not allowed to kill, so every confrontation becomes unbearable, because if that rule disappears, everything else ends instantly, and that's what makes Akira terrifying. And if starting with that already felt different, trust me, we're just getting warmed up. The Iceblade Sorcerer shall rule the world. Ray White walks into a magic academy as a nobody, surrounded by nobles who think they're superior. What they don't know is that Ray White is already a legend, one of the 7 strongest beings alive, a man who has already fought battles the rest of the world only reads about. And yet, Ray actively hides it. He doesn't boast, he lets people talk down to him, because all Ray wants is the ordinary life he never had. But the moment someone crosses the line, the moment his friends are threatened, the mask cracks, and when Ray stops holding back, the power gap isn't close, it's absolute. Ray White hides overwhelming magic. Number 8 proves something scarier: intelligence. Tomodachi Game. Katagiri Yuuichi doesn't look dangerous. He's poor, soft-spoken, the kind of guy you think you understand immediately. That assumption is the mistake. Yuuichi doesn't overpower people physically, he dismantles them mentally. He lets others panic, lets them reveal their fears, their greed, their weaknesses, while everyone else is reacting. Yuuichi is already deciding the outcome. He smiles when he needs to, acts weak when it benefits him, plays the role perfectly. And by the time people realize what kind of person he really is, they're already cornered. Because the moment you notice him as a threat, it's already too late. Yuuichi isn't pretending to be weak out of fear, he's doing it because it gives him control. Yuuichi attacks the system head-on. The next one lets the system work for him. Classroom of the Elite. Ayanokoji Kiyotaka looks completely average. Quiet, emotionless. He's placed in the lowest class of an elite school that claims to value freedom, but actually runs on hierarchy, manipulation, and pressure. Ayanokoji never competes openly. He stays in the background, while others fight for points, status, and recognition. Ayanokoji treats people like pieces on a board. He lets others believe they're in control, lets them underestimate him, and then, quietly, he decides the outcome. Ayanokoji isn't pretending to be weak because he's afraid, he does it because involvement creates risk. Because the moment people rely on you, you lose freedom. And once you understand that, you realize he's not playing the same game as everyone else. He's standing above it. And if you thought that was calculated, the next MC was literally labeled weak by the system itself. The Irregular at Magic High School. Shiba Tatsuya is labeled a failure from the moment he arrives. A weed, in a school that worships magical talent. On paper, he's unimpressive. In reality, he's a walking anomaly. Tatsuya doesn't show emotion, doesn't correct anyone when they look down on him. His power doesn't fit the system, it breaks it. While others rely on flashy magic, Tatsuya operates with precision, calculation, and absolute efficiency. He analyzes, optimizes, erases problems at the root. When combat becomes unavoidable, the difference in level isn't close, it's overwhelming. Shiba Tatsuya, he's underestimated because people don't understand what real power looks like. Shiba Tatsuya doesn't need recognition. The next one doesn't even remember his power. Scissor Seven. Scissor Seven follows Liuqi, a guy who looks like he has no idea what he's doing. He messes up jobs, acts clueless, lives a simple life as a hairdresser. On the surface, he's a failure of an assassin, but that's only because he's forgotten who he really is. And that's what makes it dangerous, because buried under the awkwardness, the jokes, the mistakes, is skill that surfaces instinctively, perfect movements, inhuman reflexes, power that activates before he even understands it. Every time he's pushed into a corner, you get a glimpse of something much darker. Liuqi isn't pretending to be harmless, he is harmless, until the moment he isn't. And that contrast is what makes him unforgettable. Now we're leaving comedy disguises behind and stepping into straight-up God territory. The daily life of the Immortal King. Wang lives painfully normal, almost boring. His spiritual power reads as non-existent. Teachers overlook him, classmates ignore him, and that's exactly how he wants it. Because the the truth is, he's apocalyptic. His power is so absurdly high that it has to be sealed just for the world to function. One emotional slip, one crack in the seal, and everything ends. So Ling suppresses himself, not because he lacks confidence, but because restraint is the only thing keeping reality intact. And the scariest part, he's not cruel, he's not trying to rule anything, he just wants peace. And when someone with that level of power wants nothing, that's when you realize how fragile everything else is. Ling suppresses his emotions to save the world. Number 3 hides godhood behind comedy. The disastrous life of Saiki. Saiki Kusuo was born broken, not weak. Broken in the opposite direction. Telepathy, teleportation, time manipulation, reality warping abilities stacked on top of each other. And all Saiki wants is to be left alone. He doesn't show off, he actively hides his abilities. Because for Saiki, power isn't freedom, it's inconvenience. So he avoids attention, avoids emotional attachment, and yet, no matter how hard he tries, chaos follows him. The genius of Saiki is that you slowly realize this world only functions because he allows it to. Disasters are prevented casually, reality is adjusted silently, and no one ever notices. Saiki doesn't act weak because he's modest. He acts weak because no one could handle the truth. Saiki hides godlike power for peace. Number 2 hides it out of fear. Mob Psycho 100. Shigeo Kageyama, better known as Mob, is the most dangerous person in the room, and he hates that fact. Mob doesn't want power, he wants to be normal, so he suppresses everything, because he knows what happens when he doesn't. Mob's power isn't flashy dominance, it's catastrophe slowly building. The stronger his emotions become, the closer the counter creeps toward 100, and when it hits, there's no strategy, no restraint, just raw, uncontrollable force. Mob acts weak because he believes power doesn't make you better, because kindness matters more, and that's what makes him terrifying. Not the power itself, but the fact that it's held back by empathy. And before we get to number 1, we need to talk about the honorable mentions. Noragami. Yato looks like a joke. Lazy, begging for 5 yen jobs. But that goofy act is a choice, because when Yato stops smiling, you remember he's a god with a past soaked in blood. Black Summoner. Kelvin doesn't hide his power by acting weak. He hides it by acting excited, always looking for stronger enemies. Because winning isn't enough for him. He wants challenge. And when someone keeps smiling in battle, that's not confidence, that's dominance. The Fruit of Grisaya. Yuuji Kazami looks calm, like a normal transfer student, but that normalcy is a mask. He doesn't talk about his past, doesn't show his skills, because the moment he does, the tone of the entire story changes. All of those characters hide their power for different reasons, but number 1, the world is just his fantasy. If you know, you already know. The Eminence in Shadow. Sid was never interested in being a hero. He didn't want recognition, he didn't even want to be seen. All he ever wanted was to be the power hiding in plain sight. Before reincarnation, Sid trained obsessively, not to stand out, but to prepare for a world that didn't exist yet. Sid pretends to be average, acts clueless, plays the role of background character perfectly. Meanwhile, he's shaping events from the shadows, building an organization without realizing how real it's become, erasing enemies while everyone else believes in coincidences. And the terrifying part, Sid isn't struggling. He's role-playing. Battles that look impossible, he wins them casually. Schemes that feel world-ending, he treats them like side quests. Not because he's arrogant, but because he's already operating on a completely different level. Because to him, reality is just a stage, and he's already written the ending. This is someone so far above the story that the world bends just to keep up with him. And that's why the Eminence in Shadow is the peak of overpowered MC who acts weak. And that's the list. Characters built on restraint, strong enough to take over their worlds, yet choosing to stay invisible. These are the characters who make every quiet moment tense, because you always know what's being held back. Now I want to hear from you. Which overpowered MC who acts weak is your favorite, and which one deserved a spot here but didn't make the list? Drop it in the comments. And if you want to see anime that truly wasted their potential, I've got a full video breaking down 10 anime that were too good to be left with one season. That one hurts, but it's absolutely worth watching next. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.